our meeting. And we will not approve, we have minutes to approve? No. We don't have minutes to approve, so we're not gonna do that. So we'll go straight to Alan with an update.
Okay, first I'd like to reintroduce Tim Alex from our office. Tim is the
Hello.
project manager here. I've been kind of running things and will continue to work with Tim in that regard. But Tim's getting more involved now that we're getting closer to construction. So I just wanted, you've probably seen him before, or might have forgotten, but.
Few years ago, when we were starting out.
Yeah, it has been 2 years or longer that we've been doing this, so.
Yeah, it's probably been a little while.
Yeah. Schedule, upcoming milestone dates. That's this one with the 8.5 by 11 with the yellow bar on it. We've just finished up the reconciliation of the 60% construction documents with Jones Winsett. And we had the estimators got back to us. We had a reconciliation meeting this past Monday, a full day session with them, and came up with a reconciled estimate, which I'll get into shortly. And the submission went to the MSBA today for delivery tomorrow morning. So the 60% went in. The binder is here. We did drop one off with Chris as well, and the drawings themselves are being printed in Boston and couriered over to them tomorrow morning. So we're on schedule for that. Upcoming, and it's going to be kind of a short time fuse here, is that we're going to have the 90% construction documents going back to the estimators on September 16th, so less than 4 weeks from now. And we're going to do a reconciliation with them on October 4th and submit those documents to the MSBA on October 7th. So it sounds like it may be a ways away, but it really is going to come up on us very, very quickly. So that's the milestone dates. The nice colorful one that we like to show off and move the flag on. Nothing slipped on that. Everything's holding. The schedule's the same as you've seen it before. The next meeting date, and we can get into this in item 6 on the agenda, was our next meeting date in September that we may ask that we just go to the October 6th date, because we're not sure there's going to be much to discuss at the on September 15th. So we can discuss that once we get to that item on the agenda. Pre-qualification subcommittee. There's a outline that looks like this. It's got a couple of crossed out lines on it. We did have a meeting last Wednesday, Wednesday, here with that committee. The committee consists of Jim Morrissey, Chris Martin, Tim Alex, and Helen Fantini. Helen was out because she was on vacation, and I attended that meeting as well, just to do introductions. First order of business of that meeting was to elect a chairman of that committee, which Chris Martin was nominated and chosen as the chairman of that committee.
Yeah.
So that went well.
Yeah,
And the process there is that we're putting together the request for services for qualifications, basically for the general contractors and filed subbidders. That has been put together, and we're reviewing that right now, fine-tuning it, but we have advertised in the Central Register as of last Tuesday that will be available, and so it's going to be published on August 24th, which is next Wednesday. And
Alan, could you just explain for maybe people at home or people here what the Central Register is?
Central Register is basically a state-run central advertising agency, paper, if you will, electronic paper that gets people subscribed to, contractors subscribe to, architects subscribe to, that they can find out all the public work that's being asked for, and they can be, so the requests for qualifications are come through there, and they know that work is available, so everybody has full knowledge that it's out there throughout the Commonwealth.
Okay,
but what we're doing on that one is a little bit different this year, or this project, is that we're going to use SurveyMonkey for the contractors and general contractors to pick up the request for qualifications. Typically, we'd say they'd be available, and they'd be calling Chris Martin and asking for those documents. Chris would send out a PDF of those documents to them. It's just time-consuming from him. So this SurveyMonkey website will go live on August 24th when the Central Register ad hits, and they can log in. We know who logged in, we can track it, and that way if an addendum goes out, we can send them that addendum from people who logged in. And we also say that that hard copies will be available here as well, but we don't expect too many people to be, bothering Chris with asking for hard copies. But he'll have a copy as well that he can distribute electronically if need be. So that's the where we are on the process. There will be the pre-qualification. You can see going back to this page here. After the advertisement goes out, the qualifications are due on September 13th. And then there's an evaluation period that there'll probably be 100 to maybe 150 different firms that will submit qualifications, maybe 10, 12 general contractors typically, the rest being the filed subbidders of the different trades will submit. And we'll split those apart with, to the various members of the pre-qualification committee, and they will have to do background checks and reference checks on these people and go through, and we will be grading those people, ranking them on a standard basis, prescribed basis that we have to follow. And at the end of that, we tell these contractors whether they're qualified or not qualified to bid the project. Okay, so we vet them very carefully. And you can see from the remainder of the items there, when the committee meets again, the pre-qualification committee meets again to vote on the recommendations, and when we notify the contractors is November 1st, and then we publish the list of contractors again in the Central Register on November 9th, and then we advertise the project for bid in the Central Register on November 16th. So we're coming right up on it, getting ready for it. Filed sub-bids will be due on January 12th, and then general contractor bids will be due on January 26th, and we should be able to make a selection and give notice to proceed on February 10th.
This may be a silly question, but this is my first time doing something like this.
Yeah, it's confusing.
But, when you publish the list of pre-qualified contractors, are those the only people that can then bid
Correct.
when it's advertised in November?
Yes. Yep. Nobody else is allowed to unless they've submitted their qualification statement and that we've gone through them. And these are pretty lengthy documents.
Why do we have to bid it, though, if we already know the...
Well, these are just people that are qualified to work on the project, that have, the capability to do it, that have previous experience, that have the bonding capacity,
Right.
that, there's a whole lot of criteria that must be met to answer this. Then their bid is most important.
No, I understand that, but why does that have to be advertised? Can't we just send them a letter saying you're one of our pre-qualified?
Well, let me, if I
Go right
could
ahead.
jump in. You're pre-qualifying general contractors, and you're pre-qualifying what's called filed subbidders, or
Yeah,
filed
right.
subcontractors. So there's only about, I don't know, a dozen categories for filed subbidders. There's a lot of other contractors that are going to be required on this project that a general contractor is going to need a bid from. So they're going to take all those, the site work, let's say. They're going to take a site contractor who's going to give their number to the general contractor, and he's going to use that number to submit his bid.
Yeah.
And then he's going to select from these other 12 categories a contractor from each of those. So there's a lot of other suppliers and vendors and different people that you want to make sure you get as many bids as you can, and as many people know about this and get interested in the project as you can, so that just competitive bidding, you get the best price and the best number. So you would think that, they've already know who they are, why do we have to go through that process? But there's the subs to subs to subs and so forth.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions on the pre-qualification process and where we are in it? Good. The 60% construction document estimate. As I said, we had a reconciliation meeting on all day Monday, and the estimators came back with their revisions to that estimate. These are what the estimates look like when they come in. They're fairly lengthy. There's they have units and pricing and quantities for every item of the building, basically. And then we go through each one of those categories and we make sure that they're carrying the same quantities, that they didn't miss something, and it's a long and involved process, and it's very healthy. What came out of that is that, and then we take the two estimates, and they're never really still the same. We take them and divide it by 2 and take the middle ground at this point in time. And the good news is that last time when we did it at design development, we were approximately $24,000 under budget. This time we're approximately $36,000 under our budget estimate. The construction budget estimate on this one was $26,453,000, and we're $36,000 under that at this point in time. We're still carrying design contingencies in there for things that are still going to enter into the drawings, or details that are going to be presented in those drawings at 90% construction documents. There's still contingencies in there. Everything's in there that needs to be in there to make sure that we don't have any gaps in the budget. So that's all good news, that nothing has, there are no surprises, and it's trending in a good direction. So we're pleased with that. And with that, what we want to do is, even though we've sent this to MSBA already today, is get a vote from the committee that says that they're suggesting we send this to MSBA for their approval.
When you say the estimate is 36,000 under the budget, is that the budget with the contingencies built in?
Yes, that with the construction contingencies and with the construction budget. You have 2 budgets. You have you have the 3011 budget. Remember that one that has the entire project, that has our fees, the architect's fees, your furniture, your technology, your moving costs, anything that is project budget related. This is the construction budget, which has the construction contingency in it. So you still have the contingencies of the 3011 as well.
So
Was that clear enough?
now, when the estimators come back with their estimate, do
Yeah.
they also put in contingencies?
The estimators come back and they carry the design and pricing contingency. They carry costs for the bonds, the insurance, general conditions, overhead and profit, and then escalation to the midpoint of construction. So that's the contingencies that's in this estimate. The construction contingency and owner's contingency, I might have misstated this. Those are carried in the 3011 budget for the entire project.
So the estimators don't vary those pieces of it?
They each carry a different percentage, what they feel like in design and pricing contingency. Fogarty, which is our estimator, if you will, carried 3%, where PM&C, who's Jones Winstead's estimator, carried 2%. So they feel comfortable with more comfortable with the documents than our estimator did, that they carried a 1% less contingency for pricing.
Well, so when you average those out, then do you look at those and say, all right, we've got this 36,000, but certain percentage of that actually comes because of difference in what they're carrying as contingencies?
We carried the higher one when what we're carrying. So we looked at that. Those are kind of the gray areas where we take a look at and we look at the drawings that we reviewed, and we said, there are a lot of, not gaps, but there's a lot of unanswered questions in mechanical, electrical, structural, and plumbing documents that we're not really comfortable yet, that all those things have been answered. So we carried the higher number.
Okay, so you don't average those from the...
No, in this case, we took the higher number. We could have averaged them, but we weren't comfortable with what we were seeing.
Okay.
Just yet. Not to say that it's not being done or that it's sloppy, it's just that there are questions that have to be answered.
Right, thank you.
Where's the well?
I'm sorry?
Where is the well budget?
The well budget is in the overall budget, the 3011, and that is trending the same way, I believe.
Well, the well construction, to get the water from the well to the distribution shed
Is in this one.
Is what the cost estimators carried. The permitting of the well is outside of that.
And the cost for Sanborn Head is outside of that, and the drilling is outside of that as well.
Is that on course with safe bidding agreement?
No, we're ahead of the curve on that. So I guess we need a vote on that we approve this to go forward.
All right, so, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so, Jim was a motion and Lynn seconded. All right, so all those in favor of the construction document estimate?
No, the 60% construction, 60% CD submission to MSBA.
Okay.
Exactly.
I was reading it and trying to figure out how to say it, but that probably was just the most straightforward way. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Abstain? Good. All right, very good, thank you. Who's up next, Christian?
Yeah, I don't have much to present tonight. We've been working on the construction documents like crazy. It's not the most glorious thing to present to you guys. I think we're up to date on the plan and the extra elevations. The only thing I was going to mention is that we do have some upcoming meetings. We're meeting with the planning board on Monday night for site plan approval. We're meeting with all of the department heads and some of the district on Monday afternoon of this coming week. And then we've also discussed with Cheryl an opportunity to meet with the teachers and the staff, hopefully in the beginning of September, as Jim mentioned at the last meeting, a last opportunity to provide input. We're already pretty far along in the documentation, so we're not expecting classrooms to change sizes or anything of that nature, but to make sure that people are okay with casework and kind of the amount of tall cabinets versus countertop. And it's also an opportunity for them to start seeing the plans as they're a little bit more developed with furniture placed inside. They can get a better idea of scale and get a feel for, oh, we requested, 4 kidney bean shaped tables in our classroom, but it really would be much more comfortable if we only had 2, and so they can start making some of those adjustments then. We won't be dealing with furniture specifically at that meeting. We'll wait for that till later in the process, but it'll be a chance for the teachers to start to kind of become more familiar with the proposed spaces. So that's on our kind of immediate timeline, and then other than that, we're pushing forward, as Alan said, to this 90% set that's going out rather soon.
All right, very good. Any other business to come before the committee? Go ahead.
At the last meeting, we talked about there was a potential to make this a full kitchen. I wonder what happened to that. Jim and I were concerned, we don't know what's going on at the high school. With only 2 more pieces of equipment, we have the space, we can make this a full kitchen. What happened to that discussion?
Right. So we discussed with our kitchen consultant, and they feel that there is room. You could move those pieces of equipment into the space that is being provided for the kitchen. But right now, it makes sense to not have that duplicate equipment in both the high school and the new elementary school, especially given how Chartwell's was planning on running the 2 kitchens. But that you're at the very bottom end of a full-service kitchen, and that with a few additions of, I think, a slicer and a large steamer, you'd be right there.
We don't know what's going on at the high school in the future.
Oh, it's a good.
We got an opportunity, it's only 2 pieces of equipment away, we should jump at it.
No.
Is this based on any assessment of the equipment at the high school?
I think so. I can check with Chartwell's to see if they, because I know, for instance, we're reusing a couple prep tables that are brand new. They don't save significant dollars, but they certainly save some money, and so they were just incorporated into the plans. That you'll get 3 new prep tables, and you'll reuse 2 perfectly good stainless steel prep tables. So I could see if they're happy with their equipment that's at the high school, or if, like you said, Jim, you needed the...
I would agree with Jim and Jim that we should look at that and look at the cost of it, because anybody who's been in the kitchen at the high school, it is an aged kitchen. I don't know whether or not we have any estimate as to how long that might be useful, and if there is any service we can provide through this new school, it may be actually a good option.
Okay.
Could I suggest that maybe we have the engineers do the infrastructure for those 2 pieces of equipment and put it into this project anyway, so that even if we can or can't afford the equipment itself, that we in the future can buy the equipment and plug and play.
Why can't we just buy the equipment now? We're never going to get it at a better price.
Well, if as long as the budgets come in.
We had $36 million. If we get this project with $36 million, it'll be getting stuff on the comment.
With the slicer.
We got contingencies and everything.
Just trying to be cautious.
I was hoping for a fountain.
To the wind here.
That'd be awesome. Just like somebody out there spitting water. That'd be cool. Kids would love it.
We've got this far. We don't know the future of the high school in this town.
Right.
And we need to make the elementary school able to be self-sufficient unto itself. And for 2 pieces of equipment, it'd be foolish to ignore that.
What did you say, Chris?
Put it in as an alternate. Add deduct.
As long as it's number one.
Great.
All right.
Planning board meeting, you don't get any members of the committee there with you?
I don't think so. We've already appeared before them once.
What are you laughing for?
It's called conscientiousness
When
right there.
everybody says there's gonna be no problem, there's a problem. We all know that.
But you're allowed to go, you can go if you want.
Bring your copy of the Dover Amendment and you'll be all set.
Back pocket.
You can't talk.
Is it just site plan
You're
approval, or is there anything that requires special permits?
It's really just site plan review. Because it's a school, they don't have much purview, but as a courtesy, we're presenting it.
So we met before with them?
Yes.
There were no questions?
There was
then?
no-
There was no- They didn't ask for a check.
No.
What's the 36,000 was for? After the fountain. All right. Any other business to come before the committee? Next meeting date is up in the air, so we'll let people know.
I thought we were saying October 6th.
Well, we'd like to do it
Yeah,
on
we'd like to-
October 6th?
What we'd like to not have is the September 15th.
All right, so let's say next meeting is October 6th
Yeah.
and not September 15th. All right, excellent. And I'll ask Emery for a motion to adjourn. Couldn't too hard to get here.
So moved.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
Lynn seconds. All those in favor? Aye.